Hey, this is Stacy Barthe, and you're checking out YouknowIGotSoul.com.
Stacy, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
I'm doing good. Thank you for taking time for this interview.
Oh, no problem.
I just want to start out kind of in the beginning of your career. I read back in 2007, you originally signed a publishing deal with Universal. Just tell me a little bit, like, how were you first discovered? How did the deal come about?
The deal came about because I moved to Atlanta. A friend of mine had really invited me down to come and work. And from there, I met a woman named Ethiopian man who I signed a publishing deal with. I eventually signed it. And that relationship was fostered from me being down there in Atlanta, just working and writing. And so that's how that happened.
Cool. And I believe I was reading your first major placement was Blur for Britney Spears. How did that opportunity come about? What was that whole experience like?
Oh, well, Danger, who produced the record, and I had developed a working relationship because we were working on Sierra, and then the chemistry was so good that he had me working in Miami, and then when I came out to LA, he asked me if I'd be available for a Britney session, and I went, and the next day they told me that they loved the song, and so she eventually ended up cutting it, and me and Jim Beams vocal produced her through the record. And I mean, working with her, it was very brief. She just came in and the song and kind of left.
Yeah, all right.
So she seems like a nice person.
Cool. Talk about your creative process. When you go in there to create a song, from start to finish, what's your process like?
Well, if I'm writing for myself, I like to start from scratch because I like to be involved with the production process with the producers. So generally, especially nowadays for my album, I've been doing everything from scratch and kind of conceptualizing, and then we build the track and I go in as soon as I have the what I want to say. I just go in and cut it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I noticed that when it comes to your writing for other artists, you've written for a variety of artists, from pop to artists like Britney Spears and Katy Perry, Rihanna, to R&B, artists like Brandy, Melanie Fiona, Kelly Rowland. So how do you kind of switch gears when you're going between different genres like that?
Because genre-wise, I'm a combination of a lot of things. So, I love all kinds of music, so it's pretty easy for me to go in with different artists and kind of get into their zone and make the song. Because, I'm not a specific writer. I don't just do pop or just do R&B. And I just, whatever the music tells me to do is what I do.
Yeah.
And, so that's pretty much how I do it. I don't have a specific, process when it comes to that.
Okay, that makes sense. I'm starting to notice a trend in R&B where we have a lot of talented artists who kind of start out as writers, just like yourself, and then they kind of branch in and become an artist in the spotlight themselves. Did you kind of feel like you had to, kind of pay your dues as a writer and behind the scenes before becoming an artist, or did you?
I've always wanted to do music. I just didn't know, the fact that I would end up doing it. So I always had a talent for writing. English was my favorite subject, so I've always had a way of putting words together. The songwriting thing kind of just fell in my lap. I think every songwriter secretly wants to be an artist.
Yeah.
And it's just from people telling them no that they kind of just, do the writing thing. That way you can still be in it, but not, be in a spotlight. But I think secretly every writer wants to be an artist.
Yeah.
My artistry developed from me being tired of, trying to play songs and the kind of songs that were part of me. I just got tired of writing the same, kind of pop up-tempo. I've been doing that for a while, and I was, popped out. So that's how Sincerely Yours came about. Just from me trying just what I want to do.
Yeah. Did you ever really think that, all these songs, these hot records you wrote for other artists, you could be singing these yourself, you could be putting these out yourself? Did that ever get frustrating?
It did, but not. I never got at that track. Like the songs that there for other people, I would probably never sing them. The stuff that I do for me is the stuff that I do for me.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. And you mentioned your EP, Sincerely Yours. You know, I was reading that you use the album as a kind of a therapy session for yourself with your innermost thoughts and experiences. You know, was it hard to so openly put yourself out there like that for everyone to see?
No, because I mean, as a writer and as an emotionalist, you know, and with my music, like, it's easy for me to bear it, you know, and wear it on my sleeve. I think that's what's so special about it, is because it's very honest, and it's not trying to be cool or trying to fit into a radio format or whatever. It's just an honest, I consider that piece of work just like a musical diary.
Yeah. Okay. Talk about your experience on the BET Music Matters tour. You know, we covered your event when you were out here with Estelle in New York. So what was the whole experience like?
Well, I mean, it was a great experience. It was definitely a learning experience, being that it was my first time on tour. And I got to learn the ins and outs of, like, the backstage stuff, like what really goes down, you know, all the people that it takes to actually put on a production. And it was a very cool learning experience. I was on there, you know, with obviously a friend of mine, Luke James, and I got to know El Varna, who's super cool, and Estelle, obviously, who's headlining. Yeah, so I think it was a definite cool experience. I got, you know, to touch more people than I would have just, you know, doing internet stuff. So I'm glad I got the opportunity to go. Cool.
Talk a little bit about your work with Brandy, because I know you guys have a cool relationship and all that. You know, what's it like working with her?
Brandy is super cool. She is a bubble of, like, just joy. Like, she wants to be better, and luckily I've learned a lot from her, like, just her technique and recording, and she's just, like, she's amazing.
Yeah.
So working with her was always cool. We've developed more of a friendship than a working relationship. You know, now she's working on an album, so we're going to get in, but that's just like more like a sister to me.
Yeah, cool. You know, talk about yourself as an artist, because I know you're like you're younger, but you're like what I would consider an old soul, and to me it seems like that kind of music is kind of getting pushed back from the forefront. So do you still feel like there's a place, you know, for that type of music? It seems like it's not as appreciated as it once was.
Well, I think there is an emergence of it. That's the kind of music that I would listen to. So I want to make the kind of music that I would actually listen to.
Yeah.
And I definitely think there's a space in the world for my music. I think I've kind of carved out my little space. And, you know, it's unique, you know, just because what I'm bringing vocally, I'm not saying anything new, I'm just really speaking from the heart.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So what's next for Stacy Barthe?
Still writing for other people. Just worked with Alicia Keys, working with John Legend on his album. Currently working with Jordan Sparks for the movie Sparkle. And working and finishing my LP. You know, I'm in the process of closing my deal with Motown. And the deal is going through my label. It's called Stellar Music Inc. And I'm partnering with John Legend's label, but that's what's happening.
Cool. And what can we kind of expect on your upcoming album that you mentioned?
It's just every time I put something out, it's going to be given the pieces of me at the current time. So currently, I'm just in the music that I'm doing now is like a little bit more progressive, and it's going to definitely give a different vibe musically, but still me at the core.